Hello and welcome to another New Ideas review, this time around smart plugs, the energy monitoring variety. I'm interested in energy and monitoring and spend, so I thought I'd look at smart plugs which allow you to tell how much energy is being used by any attached device. The two I've chosen here represent the bottom and top end of the market. The TP-Link HS110 is the larger of the two, with a combined LED indicator and button on the front and a small reset button on the top. The Blitzwolf is significantly smaller and only has a single on-off button with a combined indicator on the side of the plug. Both these plugs are wider and the TP-Link taller than standard UK plugs, so I was interested to see how they'd fit in a four-way extension like this. The TP-Link is a little wider and does encroach a little bit to the side, and the Blitzwolf is also a tiny bit wider than a standard plug, but there is enough room to plug a standard UK 3-pin plug between the two of them, although anything larger than this and it just won't work. After setting these up, which we'll come on to a bit later, I decided to do a range test. A very simple one to start with, through one floor of a house and about 6 meters. I had no problem getting either plug to work, although it should be noted that both use 2.4 GHz, not 5 GHz, but really it's not required, and 2.4 GHz gives you better range anyway. I should also add that I didn't have to do any adjustment of the Wi-Fi networks. Some plugs only work with alphanumeric characters and you can't use dashes. That was not the case with these, they both worked flawlessly. And also, there was no need to change channels, and both worked fine with the standard security settings on the router. Next I tried the plugs in some other sockets, first of all one in the garage. Now this is a weatherproof socket with a cover. So I tried the TP-Link first, and of course it doesn't actually make a connection because it's far too tall and the plug is blocked from plugging into the socket properly by the housing. I then went on to look at the Blitzwolf. I was slightly surprised at this, as it does look like it would work. Yes, okay, so you won't be able to close the lid properly, but I was expecting the plug to actually fit into the socket, but as it turns out, it didn't. You can see here I tried a couple of times and I couldn't get the plug to fit firmly into the socket. It was shy by about 3 or 4 millimeters and I couldn't work out why at first, but we'll have a look at why in a minute. So with that plan out of the window for testing range, I tried something else, a long cable extension drum. The TP-Link plugs in fine, even though the shutters are very close to blocking the plug. Here this socket is about 12 to 14 meters away from the router, and it's still picking up the Wi-Fi signal without a problem. It's going through 2 walls and 1 window here. So with that working, let's have a look at the Blitzwolf. Yes, well unfortunately this doesn't work here either, mainly because it's blocked by the shutter mechanism as you can see here. But it works fine on a standard cable drum that doesn't have any shutters over the sockets. And as you can see, again, this works no problem. So let's have a look at the reason why it didn't plug into the garage socket very well. Can you see the bottom of the live and neutral pins are tapered very slightly, so it's actually being prevented from sitting in the socket properly by the thickness of the pins at the base. Far from ideal, and it will very much depend on the socket you're using whether this is going to sit well in it or not. Let's have a look at the apps now. With both of these you do need to set up an account first, which is a real pain. I do wish there was a way around this, but because you have to use their servers to activate these plugs, there's no way around it. I have to say the TP-Link HS110 plug was slightly easier to set up. The whole creating an account and searching for the plug was very slightly quicker than it was with the Blitzwolf. You can see here some of the features of the app. Scheduling as you would expect, timers, and the power monitoring. Unfortunately you can't reset the power monitoring figures without actually resetting the whole plug and starting again. That's a bit of an oversight in my opinion, as often I'll want to change the devices plugged into this and reset the power figures to reflect that. In my singular experience, setting up the Blitzwolf was a little bit more complicated as it failed to find the device the first time it searched for it. With a quick redo it managed to find it fine the second time. The TP-Link and the Blitzwolf can also be enabled with Alexa skills so that you can use your voice to control your plugs. Again, this was pretty easy to do if you followed the instructions. You can see here that the Blitzwolf options for power are a little more limited, but really the rest of the app is a bit better than the TP-Link, especially when creating scenes, as that doesn't exist yet in the TP-Link software. In conclusion, I'd say I'm pretty impressed with the Blitzwolf, especially for the money. I thought that the downside of it would be range, and actually it's about the same as a TP-Link. Not something I expected going in. I would say the app for the power side of things on the TP-Link is better, but it could be improved on the Blitzwolf, but I probably wouldn't bet on it knowing that the support for these sort of devices disappears quite quickly after they're launched. I could be wrong, and I do hope I am. If you're planning to buy a few of these devices, the savings you make by buying the Blitzwolf are considerable. Does the TP-Link give you double the value? Well, probably not actually. Just make sure the Blitzwolf plugs fit in your sockets if you're buying UK ones. I'm not sure this is an issue with US sockets and US plugs. Links to these products will be in the description below. Buying them through these Amazon links does go to help this channel. Please remember to toss me a like and subscribe if possible. Thanks for watching. See you next time.